PNRShow Season 3, Episode 11, our SinkoDeMayo special.
I'd rather have lager than rye. I'll take a strong stout over stride. I prefer to confer with a half pint of ale than live a long life till my private parts fail. For life without liquor is to no avail. So bring me lager for life. I'd rather have lager than rye.
Desde un rincón profundo oscuro, rara vez se utiliza de la internet. Es la pinta del Nocturno Show. Esta noche, los chicos celebran el 5 de mayo con un traer su propio episodio cerveza mexicana. Y si discuten los submarinos controlados a la distancia, la rueda del tiempo y nuestras selecciones pinta de la mitad de la semana. Y ahora, aquí están sus amantes de la siesta. Señora Lustig, cerveza de alto consumo para el hombre niño con vitriones. Jeremy, Keith y Rob.
Muy bueno.
I don't know if it was good or not. I don't speak Spanish.
From a deep, dark corner of the internet, it's the Pint of No Return Show. Tonight, the boys celebrate Cinco de Mayo with a Bring Your Own Mexican Beer episode. And we discuss remote-controlled submarines, the Wheel of Time, and our half-pint picks of the week. And now, here are your siesta-loving, lady-lusting, beer-guzzling, man-child hosts, Jeremy, Keith, and Rob. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody.
They're speechless.
I'm sensing a theme.
Isawando. The first thing you will notice is we are sadly without Gary this week. Gary
Well,
is,
I have a story behind that.
Yeah.
I do. I have a tale to tell.
All right.
It seems that Gary and his youngest daughter, I believe her name is Grace,
Yes.
were strolling through the lovely city of San Francisco when suddenly they were attacked by the evil empire. Darth Vader and a team of stormtroopers came upon them. Gary, of course, wanted to give in to the dark side because they had beer. But Grace bravely fought them all off, suffering only minor injuries to her back, where she has been recovering ever since in the San Francisco Children's Hospital, having a couple of vertebrae fused. And I'm pretty sure that's exactly what happened, and we give our well wishes to Grace, who seems to be recovering just fine.
Yes. Surgery went well. Daughter and parents all doing fine.
Yes.
Come back to us, Gary.
And the part about Darth Vader and the stormtroopers was almost true, because they were there.
We have pictures.
We have proof.
We have pictures of the Empire visiting her bedside, and you know, not so evil an Empire after all. I mean,
yeah, it was kind of nice of them to go out and see the
stormtroopers and Vader. Yeah, pretty nice. So if you haven't guessed it, tonight we are broadcasting or recording our episode on Cinco de Mayo. And we could not let this episode pass without toasting some, or in some cases, we'll talk about Jeremy later, insulting some Mexican beers this evening. We have done a BYOB Mexican beer show.
Bring your own Mexican is what I heard. I didn't hear beer.
Bring your own undocumented beer.
Pablo, you can go. You're not needed.
Hey, you see that, Keith?
What's that?
Gary's asking for an invitation.
Oh, is he really?
No, really?
All right, we'll get him. We'll get him one.
Gary's coming. He's coming. Let's fill. All right, so Cinco de Mayo is a big thing down here in Texas, and I'm sure in California as well, as you might expect. So it was all I could do not to cancel out on you guys because a local brewery was doing a Cinco de Mayo night and basically opening up their taps and giving you some nice discounts and stuff. So
I'd like to say you made the right decision, but
it's the right decision. You know why? Because now Gary has joined us.
Hey, Gary. Good to see
Hello,
you.
I'm here.
Whoa. Big human voice of Gary. Gary, you look like you're in your home. Are you back in your home?
I am. I'm in my home. I
Gary.
have multiple children, and one of them is at my house, so I decided that I should be there.
Oh, what a nice caregiver. Gary, your vertebrae don't look fused at all.
No, mine are pretty good.
Oh, okay, good.
Second.
We were just
rub it in.
We were just
Rub it in.
mentioning that your lovely daughter Grace is recovering nicely from her surgery, and we're sure happy and sending out all our happy thoughts.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We've gotten a lot of very nice well wishes from friends and family all over the place. It's been actually pretty uplifting to have that, and she knows about it too, and I think it's helped her. So that's been really good to have all that support. So
I can think of only one other thing to uplift it even further, and that's a bit of beer.
Which I don't have. I walked in the door about 10 minutes ago. So.
Well, if you want, Keith and Jeremy and I can introduce our beers while you go grab one.
I'm not even sure I have one in the fridge. So I can go look. You can introduce yours, and I'll go look.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, being that you just walked in the door, you're forgiven if you don't have a Mexican beer, but for God's sakes, get something.
Bring a shot of tequila or something.
I might have that. I might be able to do that. All right.
All right, so Jeremy, what did you bring this evening?
I am bringing Corona Familiar, which I'm pretty sure is just the same old crappy Corona with a different label and a big bottle.
Wow, it's a big bottle of it, though, dude.
It's familiar Corona.
Yeah.
It's very familiar. It's the familiar Corona.
It's Corona to make you,
I think that means family. I think maybe this means family size. Is that right? Familiar.
Family size. It doesn't look like a family size bottle.
It's a beer that the whole family can enjoy.
Jeremy, you do realize the unwritten rule of the PNR show is if you open it, you got to drink it all, buddy.
Oh, that's a written rule. And
I've broken that rule a zillion times.
Mr. Michelada.
Michelada.
So Jeremy is going to
cerveza.
Jeremy, since he cannot stand Corona, is going to make his into a Michelada, which we have done on the show before, and all of us hated. But Jeremy was not with us when we did that, so it's going to be his night on SinkoDeMayo for a Michelada.
Yeah, I'm gonna try this 5 ways tonight.
Oh wow! Does your wife know?
2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, Keith, what do you have?
Well, I went to the store, and being in Northeast USA, I went to find some interesting local Mexican craft brewers and came up completely empty. I have heard rumors and done research, and I guess there is a bit of a craft beer scene in Mexico, but it doesn't. If it's made it to the States, it certainly hasn't made it to the Northeast yet. So I have the only one that I have not tried before, which is Sol.
I think we've done Sol on the old show.
No, I didn't. I've never had Sol before. I know we've done Dos Equis, and we've done Tecate, and we've done all this stuff. But anyway, I have never done Sol. And the thing that attracted me to Sol is it's actually a really nice bottle. It's like a 2-color painted deal. It's not a paper label at all. So this is obviously the most expensive beer in Mexico.
Right.
And it is they claim it the original Mexican beer.
Nice.
So
okay.
I'm looking forward to see how beer started in Mexico.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's a perfect representation.
For this evening, I have brought from the great folks at Modelo some Especial. Now, Negro Modelo is one of my favorite Mexican beers. And I have had Especial before, especially on vacation in Mexico. It's very common to serve it there. And but I haven't had it in a couple of years, so I'll be interested to see how my opinion of it has changed or not changed. So we'll enjoy that. Gary, did you bring anything for us?
I did. I got something that I think that you guys are going to be fairly familiar with.
Oh, look at that! That's a perfect beer for Cinco de Mayo.
If that's a Mexican beer,
Yeah,
please
yeah.
send it back over the border.
So a little Pliny the Elder. I'm actually not sure I'm going to drink it, though. I'm debating about how I feel. I'm kind of wiped out. So I may just go with a small shot of tequila in a minute, but I was taking too long to decide, so I figured I'd run back to the show.
Understandable.
Right. You know what? I'm going to drink it. So,
Now, with the exception
so, yeah.
of Gary's beer, Pliny the Elder, of course, which we have talked about on the show before, it would appear as though Jeremy, Keith, and my beers are of the lager variety, which are quite popular in Mexico.
Yeah, but yeah.
And mine is of the better variety.
This is sold as the authentic Mexican beer brewed with sun, passion, and soul for a great, refreshing taste.
Yeah, I've heard Sol often described as the Pabst Blue Ribbon of Mexico, so you're in for a treat.
You know what? If that's the case, I'll be pleasantly surprised.
There you go.
If that's the case, it'll be better than what I'm drinking.
There's nothing wrong with a good PBR, so that's all right with me.
All right, so if we are all good, gentlemen, raise your glasses, and a happy Cinco de Mayo to you. Prost.
Cheers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So apparently, this stuff is not the same as regular old Corona. It's supposed to have a richer flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a different color, Jeremy?
No, it looks the same disgusting pea yellow.
All right. So it's
Right,
more.
so,
it's more of a predictive beer.
Let's see. I
Same,
can't even get a
same
good
color
picture.
coming and going.
Yeah,
So-
really.
Jeremy is mixing his into a michelada, so I think we'll probably go to you last while you get your stuff mixed together.
So, yeah, I'm doing it 5 ways. So
Oh, that's right. You're doing it a different way. So we'll come to Jeremy last because he'll get to his taste all 5 ways. Keith, how is your soul? Dark and black as hell.
Yeah. Cold and shivering in a corner somewhere.
Barren and just.
The beer, however, I was really prepared for the worst, and this is not the worst. And that's about all I can say about it.
It's a great. It's almost like a movie reviewer's.
It actually is. It is very kind of PBR-ish. It's got more of a corn flavor. It's corn malt flavor to it than PBR does. If anything, PBR is slightly more watery than this. This is kind of more intense malt, but it's not a great tasting malt to be more intense of. So
That's a very typical flavor for Mexican beers.
yeah, it's definitely. It's not great, but it's not bad. I mean, it's better than your typical American adjunct lager, but not by a whole lot.
So like Keith's movie review for Batman vs Superman. Quote, not the worst.
Yeah, that's about right.
All right, so out of
the worst, this isn't it.
Out of a 10, what would you give this thing?
4.
A 4. So not really worth your time, but if someone thrusts it upon you, you're not going to throw it up.
Yeah, I mean, of the other Mexican fizzy yellow beers, I might prefer this over a Corona or a Tecate or something.
Okay.
I don't know. I've actually never had the one you're having. I've had the Amber several times, but I've never had the Especial. So
I believe, Keith, we did the Negra Modelo on the old show.
yeah, isn't that the same brand?
No, it's the same brand. It's
Yes.
The Negra
That's what I'm saying.
Modelo is the dark beer, and the Especial is the lager.
That's what I'm saying. I've never had the Especial. I've only had the Negra.
Okay. Speaking so I'll just go on since we'll stick with the Mexican beers. I know all too well what Gary is going to say about the Pliny. The the Modelo Especial is it's good. I have always enjoyed it. It's a great summer beer, as is a lot of beer from Mexico. It has a much more rounded taste to it than, say, like a Corona. It's very simple. It's only 4.4% alcohol by volume, so I mean you're not getting a lot, but it's a very drinkable beer. It's a very nice thirst-quenching beer, and it's not offensive, and it's enjoyable. Great sitting around the pool. Yeah, great sitting around the pool drinking kind of a beer. So I would give Modelo Especial a 6. For reference's sake, now Negro Modelo, I really enjoyed that. That's like an 8 for me, Negro Modelo. So this is not as good, but it's just fine. It's no big deal. So I give it a 6.
The interesting thing is, even though Negro is a darker beer, I prefer it in the summertime.
Yeah, it's a very drinkable beer too. You're right.
In this wintertime, compared to the regular dark beers that I enjoy, I don't like Negro Modelo at all. But if on a hot day, Negro Modelo is really good.
Yeah, it's really good. I guess when we say dark beers, we're talking about like the chewy beers, and Mexico does not really have many of them.
It's more of an amber.
It's an amber, yeah.
It's close to an amber beer than anything, really.
Mm-hmm.
So Gary is drinking, let me see if I can pronounce this correctly, Pliny the Elder. What do you think of this beer, Gary?
This is perfect beer. This is absolutely perfect beer. This is beyond
Probably
a 10,
just what you need after the day you've had.
Yeah, it's been I probably will be asleep in 20 minutes now, just because I'm already tired and the beer is just going to relax me. It's Pliny the Elder. There's not much more you can say about it than that. It's a perfect beer.
And I would assume that's a 10.
Yeah, it's beyond a 10.
Yeah.
It goes to 11 at least.
It does go to 11.
He got all Spinal Tap on it. So.
You get that reference? That's not...
Yes, I did. All right, Jeremy, tell us about the Corona Familiar.
Tastes like Corona. It's very, it's that Mexican adjunct lagery, corny tasting thing. Trying it with brew salt, actually, the lime brew salt is pretty good with it. And the habanero brew salt, not as good as the lime. But the lime brew salt, that actually did something interesting.
Something about lime and Mexican beers just go together.
They really do. So now I've got this Las Mejores michelada in a styrofoam cup, instant michelada. And
good luck. Good luck.
That's awful.
Yeah,
Oh man.
Yeah.
Wow, that's bad. That's like the Sour Patch Kids of beer.
Yeah.
For the neophytes out there,
the bottom of it.
Oh man, that's just hard.
Better, I'm sure.
For the neophytes out there, a michelada is kind of like a V8 juice mixed with beer. It's very popular in Mexico. I don't know about California, but it's extremely popular here in Texas. I cannot stand it.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's usually mixed. It's usually mixed fresh with like fresh tomato juice or V8 juice, and Jeremy's unfortunately enjoying it from a mix, or rather not enjoying it from a mix. And inside the mix, they have these little stones. They're actually seeds or pits
I think
that you're supposed to suck on.
Yeah, I think that's a what do they call it? Saladito, which is a salted dried plum.
Yes.
Also nasty. This is just. If you see this, do not buy it.
Now, Jeremy, you actually sent those to us, right?
I did. I was trying to be a nice guy, and we tried something different. I apologize.
You hate us.
I had that earlier a few episodes ago, and I'm glad to see you're echoing my sentiments exactly.
Okay.
Almost precisely. I almost spit take when I had that first sip of that.
And now, the Mr. Michelada, or I guess it would be Señor Michelada, which claims to be the authentic Mexican beer mix, which they made because they couldn't find the beer mix here in the United States that they missed from Mexico.
And it looked like this one was a liquid mix as opposed to a powder.
This is a liquid.
Okay.
That's much better. But it's on the sweet side, which is odd. But boy, it's better than that styrofoam thing.
You got to remember that's been sitting, what, 2-3 years in your cupboard,
Yeah, possibly.
and it's a dry mix. So,
Man. Well, tonight was just a disaster all around.
So the Michelada made the Corona taste good. Just the Corona by itself seems like a good thing right now, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna rinse my mouth out with some just good old straight Corona.
Wow, any mix that can make Corona taste better is a quality mix right there.
This
don't listen to them, folks. A Corona with a beautiful lime on a summer day is a good thing.
You know why the
hydrating.
Mexican beers put lime in traditionally?
Yes,
You know why
because
that
we
is?
discussed it on our show before. It's
Oh, did we?
skunking.
Because it tastes like crap.
Yeah, because Mexican beers go bad so quickly in the heat.
Yeah.
The lime takes the edge off of the nasty, skunky flavor.
It also makes it delicious. So,
Man, I don't know about this.
did you actually give?
That's terrible.
I'm
I'm giving it a 1. It's getting a big old 1.
1.
Corona Familiar Uno.
So this would not be a beer for the whole family.
It depends on how much you like your family, I guess.
Everybody else in the family can have it.
Yeah, I'll just stick to water, actually, if it was this or... Actually, if it was Mr. Michelada or Corona Familiar, I'd go with the Corona Familiar.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, while we continue to enjoy those Cinco de Mayo Mexican beers, it's on to our topic segment, which we also call Pint Taken.
It was a 4. Sorry.
I think you might need to get that music a little closer to the mic, but
It's a quiet spot.
bravo. Oh my goodness, I love a good Mexican brass. It's a good thing. All right, so
Mexican drink.
yeah. So first up on our topic segment is something that Jeremy suggested and he found. The old U.S. Navy is experiencing, and we all know about how they're doing drones and unmanned airplanes. Well, they're now moving out into the seas. What are we talking about, Jeremy?
Sorry, I'm still choking on beer. So this is an interesting idea. It's not exactly remote controlled because there's no way to control it. The idea is they give it parameters, and it goes off and does its own thing to fulfill that mission. It's a big, unmanned warship-looking thing. I think their first use for it will be to cruise around and track submarines.
Track submarines, I believe they said, like, maybe find mines.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Why does it have a cabin like you would put a person in to look out and steer the boat if it's unmanned?
It actually can be manned, and they're going to have it manned when it's initially put out into the water, but eventually that will not happen.
Okay.
So yeah, it can track enemy subs for thousands of miles, travel for 10,000 miles out at sea without coming back, and it will not be remote controlled. And they're saying at this point there is no plans to arm it. So while they're calling it a drone warship, it won't have any armaments to speak of.
So it can't start the singularity where robots take over.
Correct. It will not be Matthew Broderick's worst nightmare in starting thermonuclear war.
Okay.
This was on Boing Boing, so the headline was, "Could it be hacked at sea?" Which is really a pretty good possibility. And
that's a very logical question to ask.
Well, it wouldn't make a great movie. It might make an entertaining movie.
I'm sure they've already made that movie.
God, you know what it can't do? It can't drink Corona.
That's too bad.
Oh man.
Because if it could drink Corona for you, that might be a good thing.
Yeah, that would be something tax dollars could be spent on.
So they're looking to, with this prototype, eventually giving way to crewless cargo vessels out on the open seas for commercial shipping. Cut down on operating costs and cut down on delivery times and those types of things. But of course, as Jerry mentioned, people are afraid that they could be hacked or somehow turned into a weapon or stolen or anything like that. So what do you guys think about unmanned drones in the water out there protecting us from harm?
I think it has more of a more interesting application as maybe some sort of research ship. Instead of cruising around looking for submarines, maybe cruise around and watch have a bank of sensors on it and measure temperature or whatever. I don't know. What do marine scientists measure?
Water temperature, currents.
Global warming, and El Nino. I think that the autonomous. This is like really truly autonomous because it's not pre-programmed or it's not remote controlled. It's like on its own. So I think that this kind of thing has a lot more commercial applications than military applications. I would feel, I guess, a little bit better if they tried it with like the tugboats that drag barges full of dredged up river bottom that they're dumping in the ocean. Which if you've ever been to probably anywhere that has a large port, you see these barges that dump crap out in the deeper ocean. Using an autonomous tugboat for that kind of stuff, I think if it started off with something a little simpler like that after a few years we might trust it to be a military application. I don't know.
So it's a 132-foot vessel, and they're calling it the Sea Hunter, and it's an ACT-UV, anti-submarine warfare continuous trail unmanned vessel, and it cost about $120 million to build. But now that they apparently have the sewing pattern down, as it were, they'll cost about $20 million each, which in military dollars is really not much at all when you consider like an F-14, a Tomcat is about $20 million. A regular one-man fighter is about $20 million.
So that's the cost of that, because how many people do you think would take to crew a boat of that equivalent size that was a crewed boat that had people on board?
132. I mean, I would think you're talking about at least a dozen or more people.
Okay, so if you take the salary, average salary of someone in the Navy, divided by the cost of that boat, that's actually probably a significant cost savings in a very short term.
Not to mention the supplies that you would need to carry on board, fuel costs for having to lug all of that around.
Yeah,
there was an experiment a little while ago too, and it would be kind of neat if they included this. With a sea drone that got its power via the waves of the ocean too.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if this thing was completely self-powered like that? In addition,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, there isn't any information in the article about how the vessel is powered, other than the fact that it can travel 10,000 miles at a time. So it doesn't say whether it's nuclear powered or runs like a hybrid of electric or gasoline or diesel. It doesn't say.
I'd have to guess it's a nuke.
There weren't
huge I actually would disagree that it was nuclear powered, simply because if it's a nuclear powered unmanned vessel, that thing's going to get hijacked.
Yeah, and also exactly. If they can build it for $20 million, it probably doesn't have a reactor on it.
Well, at only 10,000, it would probably be a small reactor, but
yeah. I guess it's using this to track stuff, and it's not actually designed to like blow up enemy subs. They're just using it to track, and then while it's tracking the submarine, they like launch some fighter planes to go out there and drop bombs where the submarine would be to blow it up if they needed to. That sounds like a pretty good use to me. They might want to use it in the South China Sea to do these. Pushing the boundaries of what China thinks is their borders and what other countries say. Use that in those endeavors instead of sending ships with people on it. Because if China or somebody else does decide they want to, fire a missile at one of our boats. I'd rather it be a boat without any people on it.
I think it's a great idea too. I think obviously the one, and we talked about being hacked or whatever and used as a weapon. Obviously, it's probably the biggest drawback or the biggest use of a weapon. It would be to use it to ram other ships.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you take a look at this picture, I mean, it's like a big, huge axe handle or big, huge axe head that basically you could run up to speed and ram a boat at 20 or 30 knots, and then you have major problems. So I mean, there is an issue with that. The folks at DARPA, I'm sure, are working around that for some kind of highly sophisticated encryption to control it. So I guess we'll see.
So this is related, but this is more drone. I actually went and saw the movie Eagle Eye, which is out, I think, in the theaters now with Helen Mirren and the guy from Breaking Bad. It was a good movie. It was a good movie because it really asked that question about drones and the pilots that fly those and what those missions should be and what they should be bombing. So. It'd be interesting to see if this actually does get weaponized and to ask those kind of questions in a marine environment, not just a drone environment. But
the other note on this film, I believe it's Alan Rickman's last film.
It was, yeah, it was good. That is a movie we're seeing, maybe not necessarily in the theater for everybody, but I would recommend watching that because it does raise the questions of the ethics behind these drones or autonomous warships and weapons of war. So it's a well done movie from that perspective.
Yeah. All right. Next up on our topic segments, the Wheel of Time. Before I go any further, Gary and Jeremy, are you guys familiar with the Wheel of Time?
Negative.
Okay.
So the fact that it's grinding down, no.
The wheel wills as the wheel wills. The Wheel of Time is a huge, sprawling, multi-novel epic in a fantasy realm by an author who goes by the pseudonym, or who went by the pseudonym of Robert Jordan. And I believe he died about 10 or 11 books into the series, and then I guess a close friend of his or one of his mentees, someone who'd been really working with him a lot, Robert Sanderson.
Brendan
Sanderson, yeah, sorry. Finished the books for him. And basically, if you think of it kind of as a mix of Game of Thrones meets Lord of the Rings meets even a little bit of Battlestar Galactica, just in terms of a repeating storyline. Like people are locked into a repetitive life cycle of things living, dying, and being reborn and repeating the same patterns over and over again. It involves a prophecy of a dragon, a man calling himself the dragon that will rise and rule over all. It has a kind of an unstoppable force called the One Power that has an evil side and a light side that can be channeled to use for fire and healing and all different kinds of things. And it's a very, very deep and richly told story with a lot of inner politics and different cultures and really compelling, very ambiguous characters, not archetypes at all. There are good characters and there are bad characters, but they all make good and bad decisions at times. And it's very, very sprawling. I know Keith has also read a lot of the books, or it's all of the books I think you have.
Yeah, no, I've read every goddamn trip of them.
Yeah, and it's one of the highest selling fantasy series of all time.
It is a great setting. It is a wonderful story, a world, to tell stories in, and Robert Jordan does a great job for about first 4 or 5 books, and then he meanders off the track. But by then you're so invested you read him anyway, and then he dies. But when Brandon Sanderson takes over, it becomes a wonderful series again, and the last 3 books that he wrote did a great job of telling it the way it should have been told.
Yeah, these books are some of them are 700-800 pages long.
Some of them are 800 pages and cover 24 hours of time.
Yeah, he will devote an entire chapter to a meeting of a group of people, and will just talk about what they're wearing, and where it came from, and what their politics are of the different cultures, and it's very, very detailed. I mean, if you thought Tolkien was detailed, Robert Jordan is extremely detailed. But interspersed in all that, and Keith is right, interspersed in all that are some incredibly dramatic and well-written moments. And it's actually so the point of all this is that it has finally been optioned and all the rights have been cleared to turn it into a TV series. And Robert Jordan's wife, who is Robert Jordan's real name is James Rigney, and his wife Harriet McDougall just posted yesterday that the legal issues has been resolved. It's going to be made into a cutting-edge TV series. Couldn't be more pleased. And an official announcement is coming soon from a major studio. So we have a lot of fantasy series out there, some succeeding, some not. You've got Game of Thrones, of course, at the top of the heap, but also really good shows like Vikings, and really bad shows like The Sword of Shannara on MTV, which is just horrible. And other shows.
I'll bet it's not as bad as Corona.
Yeah. And other shows on Sci-Fi and other places. So they're all trying to find the next Game of Thrones. So we were tossing it around today on our Slack channel about where a series like this could end up. So any thoughts about where something like this would go?
My guess is Showtime.
Sci-Fi. This is Sharknado 3, the Time Wheel.
Yeah, I'm afraid you might actually be right, because I think the first place that this whole series goes in my mind is in the trash. Don't get me wrong, I liked the books a lot. I would love to revisit them at some point, and get back into them a little bit, but I don't think they're made for TV. I really don't think you can do it justice.
Not as they're written now.
No, not as they're... Well, even the concept of them, it is so fantasy magic heavy that just doesn't seem to translate to popular viewing, TV viewing. It has some niche markets, but Game of Thrones is maybe the exception, but even that is not magic heavy.
No, it's not.
It's really, magic is very subtle and in the background, and it's talked about as if it's even possibly just science. This would not work that way.
And that when I was catching up, trying to figure out what this was all about, I read the Wikipedia page on it, and it was paragraph after paragraph talking about the different kinds of magic and how it differentiated between men and women and who you are and how you could do it, and all that was so detailed. I can't imagine bringing that.
That's what I think.
TV show without like an entire season explaining that up front and then moving into the story.
It's not going to translate. I don't think the depth and detail of it. But not only that, even if it was fairly simple to understand, magic in general doesn't make money.
Although Harry Potter did it.
As a movie,
seem to do well with
as a movie, absolutely. And I think that might be the better place for this. But as a TV show,
it's too much going on for a movie.
I agree with that too, but I think in movie it's a more acceptable place for this kind of genre. I don't see anything with that kind of level of magic and science doing well on TV anywhere. I don't have a good example of it ever doing well. And I don't think this is going to be the exception.
I do. Once Upon a Time.
It's a fairly successful show.
Are we considering that successful?
Oh yeah, it's very successful.
It's still on the air. It's
very popular, dude. It's very popular. It's not.
I know it is.
Not my cup of tea. I don't like it, but it's very popular.
I'm not a big fan. It's very soap opera-y.
It's very.
And you know what though? This could fit into a soap opera-y kind of genre.
It's very much a soap opera.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's very much a serial.
If they took it that way, they could actually make it work somehow.
Okay, so
maybe this lands on ABC.
Yeah, I take a slightly. I think it's there's too much mature stuff in there for.
That's never
for
stopped
ABC.
ABC from cutting it.
So I have a slightly different opinion than the other guys. I'm cautiously optimistic. I think if you get
Shocker.
I know. I think if you get the right team of writers, just like the two guys that are producing and rewriting Game of Thrones, if you get that kind of a group putting their muscle behind it, I think it could work. If you've read the Game of Thrones, you know that it's also a very descriptive, very detailed inner politics working type of book. But there's tons of things that have been trimmed out altogether, moved, whole plot lines have been changed in order for it to fit on television. And I think the Wheel of Time can have that done as well. There's a lot of stuff. I was joking with the guys online today that if you just cut, or if you just use a picture's worth 1,000 words and can see what these people are wearing rather than reading about it for 20 pages, you'll cut 33% of the novel right there. So you need to have a major, what they say, a major studio backing it. If you could get someone like Netflix or Amazon to get behind it, because they're looking for the next Game of Thrones. They're trying to find that, and they're the two hot properties right now as far as TV studios go. Other than HBO, HBO is not going to do it because they've already got Game of Thrones. But
Well,
if you get,
Game of Thrones has a life cycle, though.
It's true.
At some point, it's going to come to an end, and this thing is years out still. So it's possible that they could pick it up as a replacement.
if they get Netflix or Amazon behind it, then you're going to have a couple things. First, you're going to have a lot of money behind it. It's going to draw in a lot of talent because, let's face it, Amazon and Netflix are where some of the big stars are going to do work. And you'll be able to rate it however you want. You can put in whatever kind of content you want, and it could have a real shot at being something awesome. So I hope it does well. I hope it really will be a major studio and not sci-fi. Let's face it, if it's sci-fi, it's going to die. It's going to die. So anyway, we'll keep our eyes on it for the Wheel of Time, and hopefully we'll hear more about it. But enough of that. Let's go talk about our picks of the week. It's time for our half pint segments. Take it away, Keith.
Oh, was I supposed to have something queued up?
Yeah, you were.
Well, you queued it up.
Go ahead and talk right over this, Gary. You're good.
I gotta check out. I gotta go get some sleep. And,
All right, feel better or not feel better, but I hope everybody's doing well. And
yeah, it's time.
Let this music haunt your dreams, Gary.
That it will. That it will, my friend. All right, thanks
Gary.
guys.
Bye-bye.
A little levity to my week. That was good. All right.
Nice. All right, so in this segment, we talk about our picks of the week: books, movies, TV shows, apps, websites, music, anything that strikes our fancy that we want you to know about. We've stuck in our half pint segment of the week. So I'm the only one that actually wrote anything down. So both Jeremy and there's nothing there, dude.
What?
There's nothing there. So it's going to be a mystery pick.
Computers are hard.
Let's start with Keith. Keith, what is your pick this week?
I have a game.
Hearthstone.
I would pick Hearthstone, but I knew you guys would yell at me, so I have a different game. Even though Hearthstone just had another expansion, it's all new. It's amazing, but this is not a Hearthstone pick. My pick is for the iOS game, and I'm pretty sure it's on Android too, and it's called Warbits.
Yeah, I saw this.
BITS. This game is so fun. This is kind of like a turn-based strategy game done in a very, very fun. That's the music from it. Very, very fun animation style about a race of beings in the future that settles their political decisions via, instead of actual war, they're doing it via this simulation war. And you've got mechs, and you've got soldiers, and you've got different things that can move different distances and fire different distances, and you try to capture cities. And you can play it multiplayer, so we need to get Rob and Jeremy and Gary when he's awake again in a tournament or face-off or something, because it would be a lot of fun.
Warbit.
I've been thinking about this one.
Warbit. I think it is. It's not free. I think it's just $2 though, and it's really cool. Plays great on both the phone and the iPad. So
$2.
Yeah, it's a whole $2, but it's really well done. It's really worth it. Great
I've almost bought this a couple of times.
Yeah,
It's $4.
It's $4. Oh my gosh,
This better be good.
it's awesome. It's really good. If you like this kind of game, it's right up there. It's very reminiscent to some of the early video games in its style. It used to have like Command and Conquer Island and stuff like that. Very similar to that, but much more campy and fun.
Command and Conquer was fun.
Yeah, no, this is totally in that vein, dude.
I was really bad at it, but it was fun.
Yeah. I think that was real time was the only thing. This is a turn based, so you don't have to, you can take your time, you submit your turn, and then wait for the next person to go, or play the AI, which is good too. So.
All right, buying and downloading.
A lot. It does cost some money. I apologize for that, but there's no ads in it. When you're done, you don't have to worry about waiting for your whatever to build up so that you can buy a new fishing pole or whatever it is. But
Yeah.
There's something to be said about spending $4 on a good game, and this is a good game.
Sure. All right, Jeremy, what's your pick?
My pick is Burn the Witch, which is the new single from Radiohead. It sounds like Radiohead. So if you like the band, you probably will like the single, and the video is worth watching. It's weird. So check it out, Burn the Witch.
Now, was this music recorded before the lead singer? Before he, passed away?
Is he dead?
I don't believe he's dead.
Oh, no?
Tom York?
Who am I thinking of?
I don't know, but if
Who's the group
he's dead, I
who's
should
the
miss
group
that.
the dude just died?
Prince?
AC/DC?
No,
Prince?
It's another very
David
weird,
Bowie?
obscure group like that. No, it's a group.
Looks like he's still alive.
Motorhead?
Motorhead. Sorry, thank you.
Lemmy from Motorhead?
I always, you know what? I always confuse
Radiohead.
Radiohead with Motorhead. Yes.
Sorry.
Wow, that's quite the playlist there.
Oh, Ace of Spades. Okay.
All right. So Radiohead still alive.
Although you wouldn't know it because just before this single came out, they decided to erase themselves from the internet.
That was weird.
That was weird. That was a little interesting little marketing gimmick. They completely deleted everything they had online. All their presence just disappeared. Going to Radiohead.com just yielded a white blank page.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So my pick of the week is a game. I love war games. Love them.
Well, then you should try Warbits.
Yeah, it's downloading right now.
Oh, sorry.
I love war games, but I historically have been no good at them. I consistently lose to my wife at Risk, which is funny because she actually hates Risk, but schools me every time we've ever played it. I love Axis and Allies, but Keith can tell you from past history that I suck at it and take forever to make a decision.
Well, yeah, we don't know if you're actually any good at it because we've never gotten past like turn 5.
Not true, but thank you for trying. So anyway, I love war games, but some of the it can get really, obviously, really, really detailed and really, really complex, and sometimes that's where I bog down. So a game came along. It's been out for a few years now, but I've been looking at it for a while, and I just picked it up, and I love it. It's called Memoir 44, and Memoir 44 is a 2-player or more, depending on what scenario you're using, a 2-player World War II battle simulation, and it's done on a hex grid map. And it's done. The base game is between the Americans, and the Nazis. And you're given a basic scenario. There are some little tiles that come with the game to represent forests or towns or bunkers, rivers, roads, whatever. And you're given an actual scenario from World War II, and you set up your board with some terrain to kind of match what that scenario is, and each side is given a goal, a task to complete, a victory condition to meet. You have groups of units, like little groups of soldiers, 4 soldiers that fit on a hex, or 3 tanks that fit on a hex, or artillery. And basically, you dole out a card that gives a command to, say, move all of your tanks on the left side of your board, or move 3 infantry on the middle, or move 1 infantry on each side of the board. It's very, very simple move, and your battle is a rolling dice, and the dice have pictures of soldiers and tanks and grenades on them, and all you're trying to do is roll and match what you're shooting at, and if you shoot it and you hit, you take one of the pieces off the board. So it's really, really simple. The game is only designed to take about 30 to 40 minutes to play each scenario. So it's not a long war game, very simple, but it's very detailed and very thematic. It's made by Days of Wonder, and the board game retails for about $40. But
I like Days of Wonder. They do a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, great games like Small World and other games that we both enjoy. But also, Memoir 44 is available to play for free on Steam, which is a
really?
Yes, you can play it for free.
How does the Steam game translate based on the board game? Are they
similar? I've been playing it all week, and it looks exactly the same. You pick a scenario.
So you're playing the board game online.
Correct. Now, if you want to play multiplayer online, which you can, there are a lot of people playing multiplayer. It does. You do have to pay for it. I think it's like $9.99 to play online with people. So obviously, that's something I will at some point pick up. Right now, I've just been enjoying playing it online by myself. It's really fun.
Is the online play turn-based or
yeah, it's turn-based.
live?
No, it's turn-based.
So a game could take several days as you go back and forth.
Oh, I'm sorry. You mean is it like asynchronous or is it real time?
Yes.
You can play it either way.
You can.
Yeah.
So like if you and I had this on Steam, and we're both busy guys, so we might only be able to take a turn or two a day, it would support that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's what I'm told. But like I said, the games themselves only take about 30 minutes to play, so we wouldn't even need to do that. We could just play a quick scenario, and then usually what you do when you play Memoir 44, I'm told, is one side will play the Nazis, the other side will play the Americans, and then you play the same scenario again, but switch sides, so that both of you get to try to see the advantages and disadvantages of both. So anyway, it's really fun. I bought the actual board game, which I haven't gotten to play with anyone yet. I've been playing a lot of it on Steam, and I'm going to probably pick it up now that Keith sounds like he's interested, and maybe we'll be able to play some games together. But Memoir 44, a really, really fun game, very well done, and can't recommend it highly enough.
Well, I have Steam on my on the laptop I use as my main system upstairs, so I will check out the free version of it.
Yeah, and the tutorial is really great and really easy, and it's very, very much point and click. It's really simple.
That sounds kind of fun.
Give it a try. Let me know what you think, and if you like it, and we can get online and play a little bit.
Cool.
All right, so that's my pick for the week. All right, guys, any final thoughts to close out our SinkoDeMayo show?
Do not.
I knew that was going to be your...
Do this. I finished it.
Good man.
Poor Jeremy had the double whammy. Corona Familiar and a Michelada mix.
And the Las Mejores.
Ugh.
Man, that's just so bad.
All right, well, we hope you all out there enjoy your Cinco de Mayo. As always, drink responsibly. And more beer. We hope that you come and join us again on the Plankton Return. More happy thoughts and prayers to Gary's dog Grace. Feel better. Cerveza, por favor.
Mucho.